The lake did not appear on maps. Not old ones. Not new ones. Not even satellite images. Yet everyone in the nearby villages knew it existed. They just never agreed where. Ask 3 locals, and each would point in a different direction. Ask an old person, and they would simply say, "You don't find it. It finds you." Andre laughed when he first heard that. He stopped laughing the night he saw water where there had never been water before. He had driven that forest road dozens of times. Same broken sign, same bent pine, same ditch. But that night, there was mist. Thick, low, breathing across the ground like something alive. His headlights slid over it and stopped. Not because he braked, because the road ended. In water, it stretched across the forest path as if it had always been there. Still, black, perfectly smooth. No ripples, no insects, no frogs, no wind. Just a surface so calm it looked painted. Andre stepped out of the car slowly. The air smelled wrong. Not swamp, not river, not rain. It smelled like old metal, like coins held too long in a closed fist. He leaned forward and looked into the water. He saw himself, but older, much older, skin pale, eyes sunken, lips slightly blue. He jerked back. The reflection didn't. It kept staring up at him. Something shifted below the surface. Not swimming, turning, like a sleeper rolling over in bed. The older version of him smiled. Slowly, knowingly. From the trees behind him, a voice whispered, "Don't let it see that you see it." Andre spun around. An old fisherman stood among the branches, half hidden in shadow. His eyes were wide with terror. "You already looked too long," the man said. The water made a sound. Not splash, not ripple, a breath. The reflection below lifted its hand and pressed its palm against the inside of the surface, like glass, trying to come through. The fisherman didn't step closer. He didn't step back either. He stood exactly where he was, as if moving might remind the forest he existed. "You shouldn't have stopped," he whispered. Andre swallowed. "What is this place?" The old man's eyes slid toward the water, but never quite touched it. "It's where reflections go when they don't want to belong to mirrors anymore." A ripple crossed the lake. Not outward, inward, as if something below had inhaled. Andre looked despite himself. Now there were 2 of him, one young, one old, both staring up. The older one raised a finger slowly and placed it against his lips. "Silence. Don't move," the fisherman breathed. "Why?" "It thinks movement is permission." The surface tightened like stretched skin. The older reflection leaned closer from below, its eyes widening with excitement. Andre felt his knees weaken. Permission for what? The fisherman didn't answer. Because the lake already had. The water bulged. A shape pressed upward from beneath, distorting the reflection into a warped face. Fingers appeared first, pushing against the surface from the wrong side. Then a palm. Then a wrist. The lake didn't break. It stretched. Like a membrane. Like a door deciding whether to open. "It only takes one," the old man whispered. "One what?" "One touch." The hand below pushed harder. The surface thinned until it looked like glass ready to crack. And then, Andre asked hoarsely. The fisherman's voice trembled. "Then it knows your shape." "My brother found it," the fisherman said suddenly. He said it showed him himself as a child, smiling, calling him closer. He thought it was beautiful. His jaw tightened. It wasn't. The hand below twisted, pressed harder. The surface bowed outward. A faint knock came from inside the water. Tap, 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 like someone politely asking to be let out. The older reflection tilted its head, listening. Then, it knocked back from below. A sound rose through the water, muffled, distorted, trying. Ndriy. His blood froze. It was learning his name, not saying it, practicing it. Andre stepped back instinctively. The fisherman gasped. No, too late. The surface rippled. The hand below jerked toward him and stopped, as if surprised, as if pleased, because now it knew distance. "It measures you," the fisherman whispered. "With every movement, with every breath, with every sound." The lake stilled again, too still, waiting. Something large shifted below, not human-sized, larger, much larger. The older reflection drifted aside like a curtain being pulled. Something else was rising. Slowly, curiously, 2 eyes opened beneath the water. Not blinking, not glowing, just watching. They were enormous, and they were focused only on him. The fisherman whispered the words like a confession. "It doesn't drown people." He swallowed. "It replaces them." The fisherman's lips trembled. We didn't mean to bury him, he said. The eyes beneath the water did not blink. We thought it wasn't him anymore. Andre's voice barely existed. What do you mean, thought? The old man swallowed. Because when my brother came back, he was smiling. He walked out of the lake at sunrise. The fisherman continued. Dry, not a drop of water on him. He waved at us like he'd just come home from a walk. The surface below them shivered softly. But he didn't breathe. Silence pressed against the trees. And when he blinked, the old man whispered. His eyes closed sideways. He knew our names, knew our house, knew where the spoons were kept, knew our childhood stories. The fisherman's hands shook. But he didn't know how to be tired. Didn't know how to blink normally. Didn't know what pain was. The lake exhaled softly. He watched us sleep, the old man said. All night. Smiling. We tried to trick him, he continued. Asked him things only my brother would know. He laughed once. Dry? He answered everything right. The water trembled again. So how did you know? Andre asked. The fisherman looked at him. Because when our mother hugged him, he counted her bones under her skin. We buried him at dawn, the fisherman whispered. The words hung in the air like frost. He didn't fight, didn't scream, didn't beg. The old man's voice cracked. He just watched us, curious, like we were doing something interesting. The lake made a soft knocking sound. Tap, tap, tap. The enormous eyes below shifted. Not upward, sideways. Tracking something. Tracking him. Andre felt his chest tighten. It wasn't just watching him anymore. It was studying him. The older reflection returned. Floating upward again. It pressed its face against the inside of the surface. Its lips moved. No sound came out. But Andre understood the word perfectly. Soon. It doesn't take you, the fisherman said hoarsely. It makes another you. The eyes beneath widened slightly. And when that one comes out, he continued, no one knows which is real. The lake pulsed once. Like a heartbeat. Water lifted. Not splashed. Lifted. A single drop rose from the surface and hovered in the air between them. Inside it, a tiny reflection of Andre blinked. The droplet drifted toward him. Slow. Careful. Like it didn't want to scare him. The fisherman backed away. Don't let it touch you. Andre didn't move. The drop reached his cheek. Hung there. Quivering. It touched his skin. Cold. Not water cold. Deep earth cold. Grave cold. The drop vanished instantly. Absorbed. The lake went still. Completely. Silently. Satisfied. The fisherman's face turned pale. You shouldn't still be standing, he whispered. Andre frowned. Why? The old man's voice broke. Because it already has what it needs. The lake began to open. Not ripple. Not splash. Open. The surface parted down the middle like lips separating to speak. And something inside began to stand up. Same height. Same shoulders. Same shape. It rose slowly from the water. Perfect. Identical. Smiling. Dry. The fisherman stared at both of them. His breathing grew fast. Panicked. Terrified. Because he could not tell which one had been standing on the shore first. The copy spoke gently. Which of us do you think is real? The fisherman's lips trembled. He didn't answer. Because he understood the truth. There was no correct choice. Behind them. Another ripple. Another shape forming. Because the lake wasn't finished. The forest held its breath. Two Andres stood on the shore. Same height. Same face. Same clothes. Same heartbeat rhythm echoing faintly in the silence. The fisherman's hands trembled. Because he could not tell which one had arrived and which one had risen. Both men turned to him at the same time. Both spoke together. Why are you afraid? His mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. He stared into their eyes one by one. Same color. Same reflection. Same movement. Except, one blinked half a second later. The fisherman pointed with a shaking finger. You, he whispered. Both Andres tilted their heads. Me? They asked together. The fisherman's voice broke. I don't know which one of you I meant. Behind them, the water rippled. Softly. Pleasantly. Like something amused. The surface trembled with quiet delight. Because confusion was part of the process. Confusion meant separation. Separation meant replacement. The copy stepped forward. So did the other. Their boots touched the mud in identical sounds. Squelch. Squelch. One of them smiled wider. Not wrong. Just wider. That's how it chooses, he whispered. Neither man spoke. The one who hesitates, he said, voice shaking, is human. Both stared. Neither moved. The fisherman felt cold spread through his ribs. Because neither hesitated. The lake's surface trembled again. Another shape began forming behind them. Another outline. Another body. Another face. Andri's face. Again. And again. And again. The fisherman staggered back. It doesn't replace people, he breathed. It multiplies them. One Andri spoke softly. It wants more reflections than originals. The other finished the sentence. Because reflections belong to water. The lake pulsed. Satisfied. The fisherman turned to run. He made it 3 steps. Cold hands grabbed his ankles. Water poured from the ground like liquid roots, wrapping his legs, his waist, his chest. He screamed, until one of the Andris gently covered his mouth. Don't be afraid, he said kindly. We'll remember you perfectly. The earth opened beneath him. Not soil. Water. Dark. Bottomless. The fisherman sank slowly, eyes wide, staring upward at the identical faces watching him descend. The last thing he saw was all of them smiling. The ground closed. The forest exhaled. The lake became still. On the shore now stood 5 Andris. Then 6. Then 7. Each breathing softly. Each watching the water. Waiting. Learning. Far away, miles from the forest, a farmer would later swear that a lake appeared overnight in his field. Another man would claim a pond formed beside his road. A hunter would insist he saw water where there had only been grass. They would argue. Maps would disagree. Experts would shrug. Because water doesn't usually appear where it never existed. Unless it's spreading. Among the copies, one Andri blinked slowly. Different. Late. He looked down at his hands. They trembled. The others turned toward him at once. Smiling. Curious. Recognizing. Because they had found him. The lake whispered from the trees. The original must return. The copies stepped closer. Not threatening. Gentle. Patient. Certain. He didn't resist. He couldn't. His feet moved toward the water on their own. The copies followed behind him like reflections following a body. The lake's surface opened. Waiting. Welcoming. When he stepped into it, the water closed softly. No splash. No ripple. No sound. The copies turned toward the forest. Alive. Perfect. Empty. By morning, travelers would see men walking along distant roads. Men with identical faces. Men who smiled too calmly. Men who watched puddles. Studied lakes. Listened to rain. Learning. Because water reflects everything. Sky. Trees. Faces. And once something learns how reflections work, it never needs the original again.